This is a very large Japanese black pine that I've had in my collection for a number of years. I have slowly reduced the size of needles on this tree with the standard candle pruning, bud selection, needle plucking that you go through with black pines. I recently restyled this tree on my YouTube channel, and you can see that in a previous video. What I forgot to do was actually do a spin of the tree to show you the full angles and all different views. Very symmetrical tree with a very large lower branch that is accentuated into a semi-cascade kind of style, and is quite large, but is a key feature of the tree. I'll continue to work on this tree and ramify it further and further, and keep the same shape. Bjorn and I actually did a styling on this tree back in 2018, and that was really good and set the foundations for the work, and now it's just coming along very nicely.
This is a cedar, a Cedrus deodara. I first started working on this tree in 2004. In that time it's undergone several different transformations, several different potting angles, and been in several different pots. In one stage I had it laying right over, and David suggested that perhaps I should stand it up again. So in 2018 I took it to a Bonsai North workshop with Evan Marsh, and this is what we came up with. I repotted it not long after I restyled it, and hasn't been repotted since. Cedars are quite difficult to work on. They take a really long time to set. You need to leave the wire on for a very long time. If the wire cuts in, it's not too much of a problem because it grows out quite well. I'd like to rewire this tree a bit more, but the little branches I find are a bit too delicate, so I think I'll leave them for another year or so until they harden up a little, and then I'll rewire it a bit more to give it a little bit more refinement. This is a cedar, a Cedrus atlantica. I bought this tree from Barlock Bonsai Nursery, probably in about 2012 I think. I left it just sitting in my collection, just growing on, without doing any styling to it. In 2016 I took it to a Bonsai Northwest workshop with Avril Stanley, and this is what we came up with. It's come a long way since that initial styling, and I'm really pleased with how it's turning out.
Well, this is my corky bark black pine. They were in vogue in Japan in the 60s, but they've dropped out of. Not many people, have this tree. And in Japan, I think I saw went to Kobayashi's nursery with Bjorn's tour, and he had a magnificent black pine corky bark. So I've had this one for 20 years, I suppose, 15, 20 years, and it's got magnificent corky bark there. The problem, is the very thin graft here, and I've sort of put a bit of a rock to hide that, but at this stage there hasn't been much done to it other than cleaning the needles out. There's been very little wiring from the word go, but it probably needs to have some of the branches set and improved to present a better look to the tree. Some of these top branches need to form into a nice crown, and some of these need to be brought down, and so a little bit of wiring would improve it quite dramatically, I think. But its main beauty is the magnificent corky bark that it's got there, and it's quite an impressive black pine Nashishki, and so this is my black pine, so black pine Nashishki. So I'll just turn that around and you can have a look. There you go. This is just to show the corky bark. You can notice the rock down here, which I've placed to try and hide the reverse taper there, which it needs to be a bit of improvement with it, but just mainly to show you the bark on this tree. So that just gives you a bit of an idea of the characteristic of the Nashishki black pine. This is a really nice black pine that I've got. Most the ones I really like white pines. They're the most ones I love to specialise in. But I've got some reasonably nice black pines. This one came from nursery stock again, probably in the mid to late 90s. It wasn't very impressive when I first got it, but as I say, it grew over the years, and it was quite a tall tree at this stage. But we cut back a branch somewhere around here and shortened the tree and compacted the foliage a bit. So it had a reasonable number of stylings to it to get it to roughly the stage it is here. So I think in late 2019, Takahiro Mori came over to do a workshop and demonstration, and he asked for a tree to do as a demo, and he chose this particular tree, and he did a marvellous job. Cut off a few branches here, and there, and repositioned the branches and did all the pads and things like that. So did a fantastic job. But it was about Christmas time that I cut all the candles back, which is the recommended thing to do. I was a little bit worried about some of the candles that they looked a bit weak, and I thought, oh, should I cut those off? And I decided not to, and just cut off the strong ones, which have now developed into really lovely little short needles. But unfortunately, the ones that I cut back or didn't cut back, and thinking they were too weak, grew quite strongly, and they had quite long candles. So what I've had to do is trim the needles back to the height of these ones that I did actually cut back. So it's not ideal, but I think it gives a better overall effect on the tree, and a little bit of the brown tips at the top there, but it still makes it a very attractive tree. As I say, I'll just turn this around for you to have a look. One thing that really did strike me was how good the wiring of a true professional is, and especially the Japanese. So when I look at it, it makes my wiring look a little bit dubious, to say the best. So anyway, we keep trying, and I think by looking at what's been done here, I'll be trying to improve my wiring as I go along. So I'll just give you a look at the Nabari on this, which is really nice. The bark is really quite old, and it's actually branched up into the tree, into the branches above the Nabari, and it gives a a very old effect to the tree. So that's just a little bit of a close-up. We'll pan back down again.
This is a Japanese maple, standard Japanese maple. Owned this tree for a number of years now. It's in a nice shallow Japanese pot. Main reason to show this tree is the beautiful red colour that it is at the moment. It's autumn in Melbourne, and this is some of the best colour I've seen on my maple trees this year, especially on this Japanese maple, which has never come up this red before. Purely showing you the fantastic colour. It's actually got nice structure as well. It's starting to form more of a deciduous looking tree rather than a pine looking tree, so it is coming along really well. Have a few twigs that are a bit out of whack, but it's primarily the colours, really nice deep reds, very, very unusual for this tree, but I think the conditions in Melbourne this year have been fantastic.